from Lower Keys. This is Sunshine Key RV Resort. It's an on-course park. I've been in the Keys now 3 weeks. Tonight's my last night. So if somebody could let me know if they can hear me, anyhow, I'll proceed on assuming that I'm going out. I do have it on my tablet just so I could read comments because it is a little bright out here. I'm going to try to rotate the view. And last time I did a live, it was while I was driving my RV on Interstate 10 in Texas, and it was in landscape mode. And uh, wrote when I switch cameras to the front camera, no one could hear me. So I don't know if this is going to happen again or not. But there's my view. That is my RV. And that's been my view for all week. But it's really about the scenery here. It is low tide, so the water could be prettier. Um, it is pretty nice though. I'm under this palm tree right here. This is with my RV. Just the other day I filmed the biggest iguana I've seen. He was on the ground. I was riding my motorcycle by, so I just hit the camera, start recording, and he went up palm tree all the way to the top. And I got it on video. I made a short out of it. But no comments yet. Anybody here? Okay. Either that or I'm missing them. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm trying to see if there's any comments. So not okay. No, nobody's made a comment yet. I guess I'm here all alone. So I wanted to talk about how to RV the Keys. This, like I said, the third week, and I spent the first week in John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park, which was pretty neat. Those videos are due to start hitting Wednesday. Matter of fact, I think it is. No, the first one was today. The next one will be Wednesday. I have I have actually, before I went to John Pennekamp, I boondocked one night in the Everglades, and I kind of got ate up with bugs and insects, mainly chiggers. Just ate me up, and got better when I was the other two places in the Keys. When I came down to the Keys, wasn't so bad, but here again, because I set out over on a far point over there and on the water, and I got trying to film a sunset set. I got ate up with mosquitoes, so I got a lot of bites. Anyhow, John Pennekamp, I tried to go snorkeling there. Believe it or not, I hate to admit this, but I didn't successfully. do that. And then, but I did kayak through the mangrove trees, and I filmed the park, and that video's out today. Um, then I went 31 miles to Fiesta Key, which is an Encore Park. It's also RPI Park. And I actually um, was there a week, and I filmed that park, drone shots, uh, and again, when I film these, I film them in 360s video, so you can rotate your view. Um, they have a pretty nice little restaurant. It was closed when I first got there, though, and then it rained. It just rained for the first several days, and it flooded the streets in the park, including the one right out in front of my RV and the one behind it. But it was okay park. They made me disconnect my trailer and park it separately. And unfortunately, it's $20 a day to park your trailer separately. If it's more than 10 foot, mine's a 14-foot enclosed trailer, yet you have to park it separately and pay. And then I drove down here. I think it was also like 31 miles. And oh, somebody made a comment. Let's see, here you go. Hello, Don. Heard you from the start. Just couldn't find where to comment. You're looking good. Oh, thank you, sis. That's my sister. But she's the only one in here making comments. But anyhow, at Fiesta Key, it was a nice park. Overall, I was almost as close to the water as I am here, but there was one row in front of me. There was a RV parked in front of me shortly for a couple days is all. Most people in these parks apparently come for 1 to 3 days. Now, this guy behind me, I just talked to him. They left this morning. They came down for Saturday mainly, and they get a annual or a seasonal lease of 4 months. They live in Miami. They drive down on the weekends. He likes to fish. He said the red snapper's good here, so he likes to come down and fish. He's been doing it, guess what, for 22 years, and he didn't look that old. But he's been doing it for 22 years, and he's got a fifth wheel right there behind me, and a pretty sweet setup actually. Got a lot of stuff. Got a couple Sea-Doos. You name it, he's got it. So that's pretty good. But here, same thing. I had to disconnect my trailer. This is Sunshine Key Encore Park. It's also RPI Park. Good news is RPI is only $15 a night. But they got me for $157 counting tax for my trailer. And the bad thing about disconnecting my trailer and reconnecting, it adds an hour and a half leaving. It added an hour and a half when I came. When I go to leave here tomorrow, I got 98 miles to go to Miami Everglades. It's an Encore Park. It's $20 a night there, and they're going to make me pay for my trailer again. So that's going to add another hour and a half to set up, and then an hour and a half when I leave there. So I'm disconnecting my trailer here more than I have, almost about the same amount of time I did in the whole last year. So anyhow, hey, somebody else just made a comment. Hi, Diana. Eat more garlic. Oh, that's for the bugs, I assume. I thought I ate enough garlic. Oh, let's switch the view. We got some action out here with a crane. Can you see it? This is their feeding time at low tide. This is where they can get their food easier, I should say. And oh, so but anyhow, look at this view. And this is great. I mean, this is where people want to come to see the water. And by the way, this is the Gulf of Mexico side, or the locals call it the Bay side. The Atlantic side, if I can rotate this over here, you see that bridge? That's US 1. On the other side of that is Atlantic Ocean. Pretty nice. So, and this is where people walk their dogs because it's so beautiful. You know, it's grass, and it's also, I'm sure, the area of grass. But you got to be careful. It's got stickers, or go heads is what we call them here in Texas, all over the place. So you got to watch that. Let's get that crane again. Pretty nice, huh? And I know I'm gonna mess it up, but the state park right next door, less than 2 miles, the entrance, the park itself is probably a half a mile. But it's just over the other cut. It's via Honda, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, State Park. I've always heard how beautiful it is, so I went and filmed that in 360. I also flew my drone from this RV park over to it, stayed out in the water, the Atlantic Ocean, and filmed it. And I got about a mile out there, so I got about half the park covered. And then it lost communication and returned home. But I tried, because you can't fly drones in state parks, at least not in Florida. So be aware of that. I did go twice, 2 different days, to Key West. Matter of fact, this is one of the shirts I bought. This is where I ate lunch the first day. It is 38 miles to Sloppy Joe's from here, this spot. So I rode my motorcycle, and by the way, it is hot here. It's probably in the upper 80s right now, and the sun's going down. It may still be in the low 90s. Usually gets around 93 with about 80% humidity, which is just a killer. But anyhow, I went to Key West, and I filmed that. I don't know if I'll release that or not. That's in a 360 video too. But when I got there, I rode around town, and I got a feel for what I wanted to go back and see. So I went back 2 days later, which was Friday, and this time I rode the bus, because you can catch the bus right out there in the front gate of this park. And I got a schedule, and it is $4. And I went to the end of the line where they take you in Key West, which is Truman and Eaton, and which is right in the middle of everything. You don't have but a half a mile or so to walk to anything that you probably want to see. If you're a senior like me, it's only $1. It's the best deal on the Keys. I highly recommend that if you're coming from this park. And by the way, that bus runs from Marathon, which is just, I don't know if you call it, they say it's heading north, but it's really east of here. On US 1, of course, that US 1 is the only road bringing you down here. Let's see, any other comments? Yes, it is a gorgeous scene. Let's see, there's that crane again, still trying to get dinner. So this last time I went down with on the bus, and it's air conditioned, and you don't have to drive, and it don't take but maybe 10 or 15 minutes longer anyway. So it was a good deal. And they picked me up right where they dropped me off. Uh, about 5 hours later is when I got the bus back. But meantime, I went over because I asked about this the first time I went there, and that was the uh, cunt train, which is a little look is made up to look like a train, but it's on wheels. It goes around town, and it's about an hour and 10 minutes, and they take you around to see all the sights. They do stop four four total stops. Uh, and you can get off and get on the next one. They also own the trolley system, and you could do that. I think mine was 47. I think the trolley is 60. But the trolley went part of Key West I didn't want to go to anyway, and it had more stops. I'm gonna switch this around since the guy's walking his dog. There we go. Um, and I rode this train, and they let me film it in 360. I asked them a couple days before, and I did. I filmed that, and it's going to be in 4 parts, and it's a whole tour of Key West. I also went up in the Shipwreck Museum, and they have a tower 65 foot in the air, and I filmed all of that. But I filmed that with my GoPro, so I'm going to make that a video also. Uh, Trying to share all what I experienced. I had lunch at Jimmy Buffett's original Margaritaville, and of course I got a t-shirt from there, and I had to have a margarita. It's actually the first drink I've had since before Christmas. But you know, you just had to have margarita. And guess what? I don't even miss the alcohol. I did sit here earlier today and had a beer though, which is the first beer I had since then too. But you got, you know, when you're in paradise, you got to do something to just relax and enjoy. But that train should be very interesting. Uh, and in that museum for shipwrecks is very interesting. I don't know how many people know this, but Key West was founded on shipwrecks because remember, there's a coral reef starts south of Miami, goes 70 miles past Key West, 350 mile total, third biggest coral reef in the world. A lot of ships wrecked, and that's how Key West survived. They would holler it out, you know, a shipwreck, and everybody would go out, and the first person there gets half all the spoils. So, and I think their biggest haul was in like 1857, and I think it brought in $7 million. And I think and that's all divided up by everybody that lives in Key West. And by the way, if you're born and raised in the Key West, you're called a saltwater conch. Okay? If you move there, you're just called a conch. So anyhow, that's interesting in itself. But that's how Key West got its start, was shipwrecks and salvaging them. Also, another thing I didn't know, and I learned on that train ride, which I recorded it all, is, and I don't remember the year, but there was a time that Key West declared war on the U.S. and it was all staged and planned, but there was no violence involved, but it was all on paper. But they declared war to the U.S. and then they surrendered. And when they surrendered, I may have this wrong, I either heard $1 million or $1 billion aid. And I don't, it been on the year, it may have been back in 1800, so it probably was $1 million. But that was a lot of money back then. So again, that's how Key West survived. And of course now it's a tourist town. I mean, this is off season and it's still busy and packed. And they say it's going to get hot down there. It's going to get another 20 degrees hotter. Uh, and I just can't imagine because you don't even get a breeze down there because of those buildings. But it is interesting. It reminds me a lot of Cabo San Lucas when I went to Baja on my Baja trip. Uh, it reminds me a lot of that. So it's the same type of town. Uh, but it is interesting. Is there any other new comments? Anybody got questions for me? Anybody? Let's see here. Uh, no new questions. Okay. Well, let me turn this around so y'all can enjoy the scenery like me. Oh, this crane. Let's get the crane. He's stalking something. He's trying to find it. If y'all can see it out there. White crane. But anyhow, the sun is on its way down. The colors don't pop here when most places like the sun does, sunset. When the sun hits the earth, right after that's when the color really pops. Here, if there's any color, it pops before that. At least that's been my experience so far. Bring me a lizard. Yeah, I've got a family of little curly tails right here on that rock right over there in front of my RV on the other side of that tree. And they're there all the time. I don't see them right now. But as far as, and they're a family of iguanas too. But the big iguanas, there's just, there's no way. There's no way. Uh, I don't know if they bite or not, but I know some people make them pets. My sister says she even had one as a pet one time. But she also had a bobcat for a pet at one time. So, what can I say? But that would be, it would be interesting. I don't know how big a mess they make or anything else. I do know there is a couple, and I forget the name of them, Wayward something. I follow them on Instagram that they have a iguana named Scout. They put it on a leash. Oh, let's see. I would love to get this crane. I would love to get this crane getting something to eat. I did the other day. So sorry, somebody send me messages on the very device that I'm recording on or sending this out on. So I can't answer it now. Hey, that bobcat was a predator. Yeah, no kidding, it was, sis. Wasn't that back in the late 70s? I think it was late 70s. But anyhow, I've enjoyed my stay here in the Keys. I do recommend it. And it is tough to get reservations down in the Keys. The later in the season, like now, this is considered off season. The summer season hasn't started yet. So you got a better shot in April and even May to get down here and get reservations. Uh, RPI, $15 a night. If it's in Fiesta Key, it's got to be, that starts in May. I got 2 days on the prime time that cost me like, I want to say $105 a day, and the rest of the times was 15. That was RPI, and here is just $15 a day. Because this, I got here, like I said, last Monday. So anyhow, no new comments. My sister didn't answer. Well, I think that was the late 70s, maybe early 80s. But it is beautiful. Oh, early 70s. And she hated my husband at the time. Yeah, well, I don't think a lot of people liked him. Unfortunately, he wasn't the nicest guy in the world. But that's okay. Hope he rests in peace. Um, I really don't have anything else to say. Unless somebody would ask me a question, I'll be happy to answer. I will say this, when you're long with my trailer like I am, 50 foot basically, it's harder to get in spots. I could have got in the Via Honda State Park, Via Honda State Park, um, if I was only 30 foot long, and I had to act on it immediately because I went through uh, Wandering Labs, and I didn't know if I could, if they had a place for me to park my trailer. I think they do because I filmed it, and I'm sure they would let me have done that. I didn't have to do that in the other two state parks, or excuse me, I didn't have to do that in any of the state parks. And I went to 4 state parks in Florida this season. And I've been here in uh, Florida. I got here January 10th. I will probably be in the Panhandle somewheres around July 10th, Panhandle of Florida, um, as I make my way west. Um, but anyhow, uh, no more comments. I will. The smaller you are, the more places you can fit. But I did get those 4 state parks highly. Most of, or all of them, were hard to get into. Wandering Labs was able to help me out with that. Just look them up, wanderinglabs.com. It's free if you just want emails. You set up your dates, your size of your rig, the dates you want to be there at those different parks, and they will email you, and you got less than 2 minutes to respond to grab it. If you pay $30 a year, you also get a text with it, and it was worth it to me to get that, because text gives you a little bit more advantage, because sometimes texts come through before the email, but usually they come through simultaneously, which is pretty good. We're coming up on 30 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is say my goodbyes, but I'm going to give y'all one more look at the view. And I appreciate you coming and being here, and hope you enjoyed it. And be sure stay tuned for my videos from the Keys. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of videos from the Keys. And yes, I can see the flying bugs coming out, and I'm gonna get ate up. So I'm gonna end this with back to this view. You can't beat that, can you, folks? No, you cannot. So, until next time, y'all have a good one.